Reflections on the seven last words. The first word from Luke 23, verses 33 and 34. When they came to the place that is called the Skull, they crucified Jesus there with the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. Then Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots to divide his clothing. It's striking to recall that these are the first words that Jesus speaks after he has been crucified. Father, forgive them. Unlike what you and I might do in our hour of greatest need, he doesn't first call out to his mother or to his friends to draw close and comfort him. He doesn't ask for relief from his pain. Instead, he asks that those who have mocked, scourged, scorned, and brutalized him be forgiven. Hearing his words and his limitless capacity to forgive reminds me, greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. This year at the college church, we've been able to experience the Stations, the Passion, through the lens of the civil rights movement. Images that many of us have seen so often of John Lewis after he'd fallen on the Edmund Pettus Bridge and sustained a fractured skull, have been used as a visual metaphor for Jesus falling under the weight of the cross. I have to admit that some of those images are so wrenching that they are hard for me to view. But I'm glad that this parallel was drawn because it has shaken me, who as a kid was in the habit of going to Stations every Friday during Lent. It has shaken me from what sometimes is the complacency and comfort of ritual to a more profound grasp through this contemporary example of pain and suffering, of Jesus' pain and suffering. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. A key principle of nonviolence training used in the civil rights movement was this: don't fight back. Instead, adherents of that principle were told, look your oppressor directly in the eye, even as you're being struck, and try to elicit the person's humanity. So here's Jesus. The mob sent by the chief priests comes to arrest him. One of Jesus' followers draws his sword, severing the ear of the chief priest's servant. Put your sword away, Jesus says. He heals the man's ear. He doesn't fight back. Before the Sanhedrin, before Pilate, he's scourged, mocked. Before the crowd clamoring for Barabbas, which, of course, is all of us, he looks for his oppressor's humanity. He saw it in the centurion, who acknowledges the Son of God. As for the others gathered beneath the cross, Jesus looks past their anger, their jeers and fear, past the false charges. He doesn't fight back. He says, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Those who led the civil rights struggle, Dr. King, John Lewis, and others, often spoke of the beloved community. What a sweet, resonant word community is for us now in these days of coronavirus separation. The beloved community. That was the goal of the civil rights movement. A people able to surmount superficial differences, unified by their belief in the creative and redemptive power of love. It's that belief that allows one to dispel bitterness, despite imprisonment or physical injury, that allows one to forgive. And what better example of forgiveness and redemptive love is there than Christ crucified? Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing.